In the last few years, music has had to evolve in order to live in the new digital era. On the surface, this approach seems to have been successful with services such as iTunes, Last.fm and Spotify enabling millions of people to access music in a brand new way. But with this move into the digital era, music has encountered a problem, one that may cripple the entire industry completely: digital piracy.
The problem of piracy is huge. You know, piracy, I'm not even familiar or comfortable with the term piracy. It is basically theft. Pirate implies some kind of Jolly Roger thing, where really it isn't. It is just basically thieving copyright music and copyright performances. So it's huge. It's virtually wiping out my business.
It's obviously a huge problem because it's affected sales for artists, record labels across the board for the past, 5-8 years.
There's been a century of people paying for music and expecting to pay for music, and just within the past 10 years, all of a sudden, people think you could treat music like a TV channel and just turn it on and get it for free. Where unfortunately people do make their living from selling music. And, you know, it's been an honourable profession for over a century, going back to classical musicians. And here we have some new technology has virtually wiped out huge sectors of the business.
It's affecting our income. I mean, it's probably hit us about 50% in the past 5 years. I mean, I think the CD's dead, and I think, well, it's almost dead. We still sell CD albums to a certain extent, but I mean, for singles and stuff, it's dead.
Seemingly, piracy is taking its toll. To cut costs, high street giant HMV have announced their intention to close 60 stores. A 2009 IFPI study said that 95% of all music downloads are illegal. But is piracy really as bad as it seems?
Digital piracy as such is grossly overrated. I don't think it's as bad as is made out by the various authorities. I'm always suspicious when people pull out a number. You know, we have lost £18 billion worldwide. From where? Where did that number come from? I think there's figures being flown around that are not quite right.
The major record labels have controversially decided to take legal action against downloaders, but some argue if the industry had better prepared itself for the digital era, piracy would not be as big a problem and legal action would not be required.
The record companies have definitely been slow to react because the record companies are a generation removed from the people actually doing 90% of the copyright theft, really. It's the younger people, the more internet savvy people, students most, I suppose a lot of them are of some kind, either school students or university students who are doing most of the copyright theft, whereas the record companies are run by people in their, 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s who aren't actually down at the front line, getting stuff online.
The whole music industry has been caught flat-footed with this. You know, when Fanning first cropped up with Napster, they should have said to Fanning, come, sit down there, speak to us, tell us how it works, and let's all work together. Before Fanning got out of his bed, there were 30 lawyers standing around about him saying, we've stopped you. For the record labels to go the way that they went was just lunacy. And they gave the media enough good stories of the 93-year-old granny downloading 40,000 rap tracks or something like that. I mean, stop it.
If you're sharing music and you're letting, 10 million people access your files, I think they should be punished for it. But I mean, if it's a kid in his bedroom or sharing some files with his friends, I don't think they should be punished for it at all. I mean, that's fandom.
I don't think any current measures have been successful at all. I think it's been a bit of a joke the way they've gone about trying to make up this law. It's like laws being made by people who don't actually use the technology. So everything's a few steps behind what people are actually doing. So no, I think it's been an absolute farce the way that the government's treated the copyright situation and the whole downloading thing.
Will the problem of piracy ever go away?
No, I don't think it'll ever go away. It's always been there, but on a much smaller scale. You know, the thing the record companies did in the 80s, home taping is killing music, was piracy on a kiddie scale compared to what we have now with the ease of sharing files and being able to email things.
I think it probably will be stopped in time, but it will be stopped by the technology.
It's the same argument as drugs, isn't it? If you decriminalise it, then there's no market for the drug dealers, really. So it's kind of like if you make the files easily available and there's a good business model that people can get paid for it, i.e. the streaming sites like Spotify, then maybe it will go away.
And it won't be the record industry that will solve piracy. It will be the technology that will solve piracy.
Piracy and bootlegging are not new problems for the music industry, nor are they the only ones. Nonetheless, they are problems that the industry must tackle if it's to survive and remain profitable.